Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. This is actually a video of a attempted FaceTime lesson with Matt, attempted recorded lesson with Matt. I realized that during this screen capture that my record button was on, but the microphone was off, so it is muted. But I'm going to do my best to walk you through, guys, what we were doing. So with Matt, as you guys can see, he's always been swinging it pretty good, but he was saying that the sequence was a little bit off and that he was seeing a little bit of a two-way miss at times. So I'm just kind of watching a few things, just seeing what the tendency is so far as he hits balls for me from this face-on view and then the down-the-line view, which is what he's going to do now, moving into down the line. And I mentioned to him that his transition was looking more hingy or wristy or laggy in the traditional sense of him increasing wrist angles, which is making his lead wrist cupped too much in transition. He's looking definitely more wristy than where we used to be when he swings it without missing a two-way miss. So I think he's gonna demonstrate here soon of what he's doing currently, which I don't want him to do. I'm just explaining it to him right now as he's looking at the camera. So at the top, you can see he's fiddling with his wrist, and you see he's pulling his hands down. Wrist angles increased quite a bit. That's what he's doing right now. And I'm explaining to him right now what I want him to feel like. His right wrist, his lead wrist flattens more as his trail wrist bends more in transition, which is the opposite of what he's doing. So for you guys who've watched my channel already, you know I like a lot of earlier shallowing in transition, which is going to get that lead wrist flat or flatter, maybe towards bowed, and then the trail wrist towards being more bent. So I'm demonstrating it to him right now, as you guys can kind of see in that top right corner. I'm using a foam roller as a visual for what the club is. You can see the foam roller kind of flattening instead of steepening that I'm currently doing. So I walk Matt through that feel, and then he tries to implement it. So let's see what he does. So he gets to the top. Yep. So you can see now he gets to the top and then he shallows it out. Yep. Exactly. Good. Good. So a couple of tries for us. So he's probably gonna miss the first few, which is totally normal. And we'll see what happens. This will probably be like a 10-minute video. I'm not gonna do the entire. I'm not gonna show you guys the entire lesson just because it's muted. But I'm gonna narrate you guys through the entire 10 minutes or so to the best of my ability. So he's just hitting a few right now, really feeling that right wrist, or as a lefty, his right wrist, his trail wrist, his lead wrist flatten, his trail wrist bend more in transition. And you guys can see the top of the backswing leading when the transition is starting to look quite different. So you can see that before his club was pointing more vertically up. Now the club is pointing a little bit more back, leading to a more shallower spot. Love that, love that. And then I'm having him also think about the right shoulder going down and around, or his elite shoulder going down and around, which is something that we've worked on in the past. That was a pretty good one there. I've also had him stand just a little bit taller because when he first started today, if you just go back to the beginning of the video, he was very bent over. So now he's standing taller here. His head's not so far over the toes, and his hands are a little bit higher as well. His hands are just a little too low where he was bent over. Toe of the club is off the ground by a little bit too much, and then his hands are a little bit pre-hinged because his hands are too low. So just kind of a couple cleanup things, not too hard to do. I stress this a lot with all my clients. I'm always making sure that is it manageable? Is it too much to think about? If not, we continue. If it is too much to think about, we dial it back one piece or one step. That was just my iPhone just kind of stopped or resetted the screen recap, so that's just kind of just like fuzzed out a little bit there. So you can see he's walking us through what he was doing, or we're talking it through. Hands pulled down, steep, lead wrist cupped, which we don't want. So I'm basically having him feel that shallowing piece with the wrist as his elite shoulder goes down and around, as he keeps his hands up. That's always been a feel that works well for him. So you see how he shallows it up big time, his hands stay up at all times. That gives him much more time to rotate. And then when we watch that swing in slow-mo, he's actually rotating much more into impact now. He said he feels like impact is happening, feeling like later than usual, which is good, which means that he's rotating more, he's not pulling down as much. Typically, if you're someone who pulls your hands down, who doesn't rotate, you're used to the hands and club returning the ball under a certain time frame. If you were to start rotating and not pull your hands down, that time frame gets extended, which is why you would feel like your hands or hands and club impact is happening later than usual. So I'm just kind of showing him the video in the top right corner. I know it's kind of small. Just kind of walking him through what's been happening, showing him the differences at impact where he's rotating more into the ball, he's not pulling down as much, really highlighting the top of the backswing with him compared to the top of the backswing from before, and then showing him how that wrist piece is leading into a much more shallower spot. So I'm just going to talk him through him right now through the video on my iPad. I'm just going to showing him, and then he's going to go at it and try again. So next time I'll know any FaceTime lessons I record, I'm going to make sure the microphone is on so that you guys can get more of the action. But I figure I just put this up for you guys anyway. It's just a quick 10-minute video or so, just showing you guys what Matt and I have been working on, what he needs to do to keep himself in a good spot. But we all know he gets it really, really good. So just kind of a lot of cleanup stuff. The majority of the stuff is pretty much done. A lot of refinements, re-exploring pieces we've previously worked on. Yeah, it's looking so much better. He says the sequencing was feeling much different, where he feels like it's more well timed. The lower body starting first, followed by the upper body, followed by the arms, and then the hands, and then the club. So things that I really, really like in a good golf swing. Love that wrist piece. You can really see that lead wrist flat and trail wrist bend as his hands stay up, as he keeps his hands up. Really like these swings here. Is looking much better. It's flowing much better. Not looking as wristy in the traditional sense of feeling that vertical wrist hinge, that traditional sense of what lag is. For you guys who are just joining the channel now, I talk about lag being one segment lagging behind the next segment in the sequence. So it's the hands lagging, it's the club head lagging behind the hands are lagging behind the arms lagging behind the torso turn lagging behind the lower body turn, one segment lagging behind the next segment. That's what, in my opinion, how we should define the lag in the golf swing. The movement's lagging behind another movement, not so much just pure wrist angles that a lot of us are accustomed to defining lag as in the traditional sense. So you just keep doing one rehearsal before you hit. I'm a big fan of doing one rehearsal before you hit, just to make sure that you have a reference point of what to feel for. I think there's another minute in this video, and then we'll kind of call it a day. There's just a quick 15-minute check. Just trimmed a little bit of the front and the end. But he's starting to feel more familiar with this. He's starting to feel more comfortable, which is good. So I'm just gonna watch a couple more swings. But he seems like he's doing the right thing. So I just ask him go to the face on just to check that face on. Most of my FaceTime lessons, it's going to be back and forth down the line and face on. Depending on which piece we're working on at that moment, I might look at more down the line or more face on in one particular session than another. But typically it would be a mix of, oh, see some at down the line looks good. Hey, can you move it to face on for me to check a couple things? That's how FaceTime lessons usually work, and it's actually been pretty successful so far with my clients around the world so far. So it's been fun. It's been fun to still work on to help people work on their game during this time of physical distancing. Hopefully everyone is staying safe and still able to work on their game. Even if you can't hit balls, doing things at home, working through the movement, whether on your driveway, will definitely help. Just give you a better reference of what you want to try to build towards. So we'll see one more swing here. I think Matt is pretty much done. I think this video is coming to an end very soon. So we'll see a couple more. I think I'm just talking him through a couple things here, making sure that his right shoulder is going down and around in the downswing, making sure he's still feeling that wristing that we talked about in today's session. But it's definitely looking much better. It's flowing much better, which is nice to see. So hope that helps. Any questions, leave it in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time. And again, yeah, great rehearsal there. Really exaggerate right shoulder down and around there. So maybe we'll watch this swing as well before we call it a day. Perfect. Thanks, guys.